welcome to Every Movie I've Ever Seen. This is a special Rummaging Through April edition, where throughout the month of April, I'm going to be reviewing movies that I found at rummage sales. Up next, we have Countdown, The Sky's on Fire. This is basically just kind of your below average end of the world, movie, and it's in the subgenre end of the world movie, which is end of the world because of climate change. There's a big subgenre of that. Movies such as Day After Tomorrow is one of my favorite of that subgenre, but typically they're nothing special, and that's kind of the case for this one. I mean, it just screams made-for-TV sci-fi channel show, but like worse. The special effects are, as usual, terrible but scarce. So they must have had like a $50 special effects budget, because they could we can only put special effects in this one scene, this one particular moment, and it's not like the moment is, particularly special or anything. Well, I mean, it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be the big climactic end of the movie, but it's not big or climactic or anything like that. It's not a lot happens. With end of the world movies, you expect stuff. Like, look at something like 2012. I mean, you had a lot of destruction and action, and that's kind of what you're expecting at an end of the world movie, volcanoes erupting and tornadoes tearing apart cities and all that good stuff. You don't get any of that in this. You get a couple people get burned badly because of the sun, and that's about it. And again, that's because it's low budget and made for TV movie, but that's not an excuse, because at least you look at something like Sharknado, which is just completely dumb, but stuff happens in there. They got sharks and they're eating people, and there's tornadoes and you get destruction. There's a lot of they use a lot of footage of flooding, probably like Katrina or something, Hurricane Katrina, but at least they're making an attempt to show you stuff happening. This doesn't even bother. So, I mean, there's no merit to it. It doesn't star anybody of fame. There's one guy who I think some people are gonna know, Bradley Whitford. I feel like he's somebody. I know he was in Godzilla King of the Monsters. I think he's potentially like a comedian or something, or like he's not an actor first, I think. Maybe. There was somebody in this that I actually did recognize. Seth Peterson is in this. Now, you probably don't know who Seth Peterson is. Seth Peterson played Nate Weston, the younger brother of Michael Weston, in the TV show Burn Notice. I know that somehow. But yeah, he's only in the beginning scene. He is the stereotypical, group of people who die in the beginning to set up the scenario. Spoiler alert, don't get attached to his character. But yeah, I don't know what he's been up to. I don't know if Burn Notice was his big break or something. It's probably the biggest thing he's done, to be honest. But yeah, definitely wasn't this. Of course, they end up solving everything by using a bomb, which I feel like that's the go-to easy opt-out solution. Like, we'll just make a bomb. We'll have a bomb. But it won't be a bomb. It'll be a scientific-y bomb. It'll explode and everything, but when it explodes, it'll do scientific stuff, which will solve our problem. Like, that's how Sharknado did it. They got in a helicopter and dropped a bomb into the tornado, and that stopped the tornado. The Sharknado, I should say. That's how they stopped the Sharknado. That would have worked for just tornado. It wasn't very shark-centric, but I guess if you take the tornado aspect out of Sharknado, then you just have sharks, which are much more manageable on dry land. You know, you got chainsaws, that's all you really need. Oh god, what a dumb movie. But yeah, it was just basically, the main thing is climate change. Like that's just, it's just a thinly, I feel like I'm saying the same exact thing about the Life Zone. It's a thinly veiled climate change PSA, almost to the point where, like, at the end of this movie, there's a text wall. It's like, while this couldn't actually happen, it's still a problem, blah, blah, blah. Great, thanks for that. It's kind of unnecessary to say this couldn't happen. It's like you don't need to put a disclaimer at the end of your movie saying, this isn't based on true events. Like, oh, really? There wasn't actually a Sharknado? I didn't know that. I thought there was. I thought this was historical fiction. Good to know. But, yeah. So, I mean, it was nothing. It's kind of slow and boring. It's like I said, you don't have the action or destruction scenes that you get in a good end of the world movie. So it's just, you know, it's just people talking about stuff, and, you know, stuff happening off screen, or doing the bare minimum. Like, oh no, birds are freaking out. We got 2 birds we'll place on the ground, and then we'll CGI birds going crazy in the background. At least you could do worse with CGI birds. It could always be birdemic. Is that even CGI? Like clip art? Maybe? Yeah, that should be like a new genre. It could be like practical effects, then like visual effects. Well, no. I guess practical effects are visual effects. I guess you get like practical effects, CGI, and then clip art. That's like, I guess it comes down to like how little effort is made to integrate it to the actual movie. It's like you take an explosion and it's very clearly you're copying and pasting that explosion into the movie. Just like the birds in Birdemic, they were clearly copy and pasted. Like, we'll just take this bird effect and boop, plop it on the screen. There you go, birds. But yeah, the movie was nothing special. Kind of bad. And that's all I've got to say about Countdown, The Sky's on Fire.